When you think of the great literary villains, there are a few names that really stand out, but hardly any cast a shadow quite as long or as complicated as Mephistopheles, right? His name is basically shorthand for making a deal with the devil. But the character we all picture today, well, he went through a pretty fascinating evolution. So let's dig into how he became the ultimate tempter.
Of course you have. It's a trope we see literally everywhere, in books, movies, you name it. This idea of trading away something absolutely priceless, like your soul, for some temporary worldly gain. It's such a powerful and honestly a terrifying idea.
And that's what this is all about. We're going to trace his incredible journey from what started as a pretty simple, straightforward baddie to one of literature's most complex symbols for our own internal struggles.
Okay, so to really get a handle on Mephistopheles, you first have to understand the deal itself. It's what drives the whole story. It's the narrative engine that gives him his entire purpose.
So here's the deal, literally. It was first laid out way back in 1587 in a German book called the Faust book. And it's pretty simple. A person gets everything they think they want in the world, knowledge, pleasure, power, but the price tag is, well, it's everything. It's your soul.
Just think about that for a second. On one side of the scale, you pile on all the things Faust gets. Forbidden knowledge, all the earthly pleasures you can imagine, even supernatural power. But on the other side, weighing it all down, is the non-negotiable price, the complete surrender of his soul the moment he dies.
A great way to think about it is like this. Mephistopheles is the ultimate cynical banker of the human spirit. He's offering you this incredible, high-interest loan. You get all the wealth and power you crave right now, no questions asked. The only catch? The collateral is your soul. It's just a perfect way to capture that timeless struggle between instant gratification and, eternal consequences. So, with that deal in mind, let's meet the original dealer. To really see how much Mephistopheles has changed, we've got to go back to that very first version from the 1587 Faust book. This is our baseline. The first Mephistopheles, he was not complicated, not at all. He was a sinister tempter, a cunning antagonist, and he had exactly one motivation, the relentless pursuit of Faust's soul. That's it. He was an external force, a clear-cut, unambiguous personification of evil, which was pretty typical for the morality tales of that era. Yeah, there was absolutely no gray area here. He was just a threat from the outside, a character designed to be a very obvious warning. Don't get too big for your britches, don't challenge the way things are, or this is what's waiting for you. But then, centuries later, one of the titans of literature, a guy named Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, gets a hold of the story. And he doesn't just tweak the character a little bit. Oh no, he completely reinvents him. And in doing so, he changes everything. And this is the absolute genius of what Goethe did. The battle is no longer Faust against a demon. The battle is now Faust against himself. Mephistopheles becomes the voice of Faust's own darkest desires, his deepest ambitions. The evil isn't just outside anymore. Now it's inside. And Goethe pulls this off by giving Mephistopheles incredible psychological depth. Sure, he's still a tempter, weaving all these seductive promises, but he's also a shark-witted cynic, mocking humanity's ideals and questioning everyone's motives. And crucially, he becomes a psychological foil. He's the literal embodiment of Faust's own internal conflicts. And by doing all that, he becomes a vehicle for exploring what it means to be human in the first place. I mean, just look at the difference when you put them side by side. He goes from a one-dimensional villain to this incredibly multifaceted figure. His motivation goes from just grabbing a soul to exploring human nature itself. He goes from being an external symbol of evil to an internal symbol of our own moral ambiguities. It is, without a doubt, one of the most dramatic character upgrades in all of literature. So why does all this matter so much? Why is this such a big deal? How did this transformation turn Mephistopheles from just a character in an old cautionary tale into this global cultural icon? Well, it's because the story stopped being about a literal demon out there threatening your soul. It became about the demons we all have inside of us, our ambitions, our desires, our own moral conflicts. The danger became psychological, and that's something we can all relate to. And by making that incredible shift, Goethe basically made the story universal. That struggle with our own darker nature is something that everyone, everywhere, at any time, can understand.
He created what you could call a universal grammar of temptation that can be adapted into any culture. And you see the proof of that universality everywhere you look. From Polish folklore with the legend of Pan Twardowski to American comic books with Marvel's supervillain Mephisto, all the way to Japanese manga like Blue Exorcist, they're all drawing from that same deep, psychological well that Goethe created. So really, when you get right down to it, the enduring power of Mephistopheles isn't his magic or some supernatural ability. It's his ability to act as a mirror. He went from being a monster you're supposed to run from to a mirror you're forced to look into. He makes us confront our own ambitions, our own temptations, and the prices we just might be willing to pay to get what we want. And that really just leaves us with one final, nagging thought. When you look into that mirror that Mephistopheles holds up, what parts of your own desires, your own inner conflicts, do you see looking back at you?